What's up, guys? My name is James, and in today's video we're going to talk about the Airbnb apocalypse that's happening right now and what you can do to survive it, and my predictions on what's to come for the future of Airbnb hosting. So if you don't already know me, I'm one of the expert co-authors behind Airbnb for Dummies. I've been hosting for 3-4 years now, and I've got a lot of expertise when it comes to hosting. And one of the things that I've learned over the years is that business and hosting really is a business. Business, like anything else, has seasons. And so what will happen is that right now we're entering into the season of winter. It's unclear how long this winter season is going to last. It's unlikely that a recession is going to dramatically impact Airbnb. And I'm actually putting a different video out later this week or next week that's going to talk about the details of exactly how Airbnb is such a recession-proof business. But we're unclear right now as to the degree to which Airbnb is going to be impacted long-term, how long this winter season is going to last. So we're going to talk about the winter season, how to best set yourself up for success throughout it, how to weather the storm, and then also how to prepare for spring and summer that are to come. Because that's an important one to remember as well, is that after winter always comes spring, always comes summer. So it's not going to be like this forever. And so what you can do right now is prepare for when things do get better. It's important to remember right now as well that as much as you may want to blame Airbnb, blame the economy or the government, or blame all the craziness going on in the world right now, one of the things that's really important to be able to move forward and move past this and be productive is for everyone to understand that the degree to which you are, suffering right now is inversely, directly proportional to the degree to which you were unprepared. Right? The truth is we need to each take responsibility for our own lack of preparedness. Everyone is on a different level of the spectrum here, but the reality is you need to be prepared for anything to happen. And if you're prepared for winter, because it may not have been predictable that this exact thing was going to happen, but we've seen time and time again throughout history that winter comes after summer. We've been in summer for a really long time. Things have been good. And so you need to prepare for when things are bad. If you didn't do that at all, you're likely suffering a lot right now. And I don't say that to put the blame on you and make you feel bad, but I say that so that you can move forward past this productively, learn from why you're suffering right now, and be able to prepare. Because right now, we're already in winter. It's too late to prepare for winter because it's already come. So we need to just manage and mitigate the downside. We need to reduce our losses as much as possible, but we also need to prepare for what's to come. So we need to take the time now to be preparing not for winter because it's already here, like I said, but to prepare for summer and for spring because those are what's on the horizon, and there's a big opportunity that's going to come after all this craziness. So in this video, we're going to talk about number one, things you can do to stay afloat and survive throughout all this craziness. Number two, we're going to talk about what's to come. What is coming next after all of this craziness actually subsides? And then number three, we're going to talk about how you can prepare for that. Things that you can do now as a host or as a BNB manager or as an arbitrager, whatever involvement you have within Airbnb, how can you prepare for what's to come so that you're set up for huge success and that you don't get caught not being able to reap the reward of the spring and summer seasons that are going to come here pretty soon. So to start off with, let's look at what is it that you can do as an Airbnb operator to actually stay afloat and survive right now. Well, number one is to keep cash on hand. If you have cash right now, you're in a good spot, then you can sustain your business without revenue for a while. That might be necessary. So keep that cash on hand. If you don't have cash right now, if you don't have a lot of it, then make sure that you're limiting the monthly outflows. And really, no matter what situation you're in, you want to really focus on limiting the outflows of cash. Cut any unnecessary spending. If you're providing freebies and gifts to your guests, you're going a little bit above and beyond, it's a good time to cut that back, because if you can cut that back and make up for it by just, the intangibles of giving a better service, caring for your guests a bit more, but save that cash, it's gonna, potentially mean the difference between you needing to shut down shop and continue operating. So now is a really good time to look at cutting a lot of those expenses. The other thing that you can do is focus on domestic travelers. It's very unlikely with what's going on in the world right now that you're going to be getting a lot of international travelers coming to your property. And so you may need to shift the value proposition of your property. It's very likely there's going to be a new value proposition for your property. So tailoring your listing to reflect that, to reflect domestic travelers, let's say for example, you've got a cabin out in the woods. There's a lot of people that are likely looking for some seclusion while they go through quarantine and all this other stuff, and that would potentially like to get your property booked. And so offering a huge discount for these next couple days when you potentially have immediate cancellations that need to get filled because you've got last minute cancellations coming in, then dropping your price down drastically and revamping your listing to reflect the new value proposition. If your listing was tailored to people coming from abroad, that's not going to be the case anymore. And so you need to rework that so that it's focusing on the new value proposition. So that, and then look for potential medium to long-term tenants to stay in your space. Now, ideally, you want to find someone that's going to be a 1 to 3 month stay. Anything 14 days or longer really is quite ideal because you don't necessarily want to get someone in there for 12 months because of what's to come. Now, what's to come in Airbnb and in hosting? Now, largely I am speculating at this, so take what I say with a grain of salt because I, just like anyone else in the world, cannot predict the future. However, if we look at the past and we try to draw some conclusions from it and we just kind of put on our thinking cap for a little bit, you got to look at the fundamentals. Now, the part that's most speculative is that if we look at what's going on in the world right now, we've never seen this kind of a global lockdown and quarantine. And so it's quite likely that at the end of this, people are going to want to get out and kind of stretch out a bit, spread their wings, maybe go and travel a bit. So people are probably going to want to get away from home. I'm sure that a lot of you sitting at home right now can relate that you just kind of want to get outside, you want to go around, you want to maybe travel, get out of the city a little bit. And so it's likely that a lot of people are going to be feeling that way. Now, that's not to say that people are going to have a whole bunch of money to go and do that, because this is going to be a financially challenging time for all of us. And so people aren't going to want to go and splurge on a whole bunch of, expensive hotels, things like that. So there is likely going to be a decreased budget, which bodes well for travel like Airbnb, because it is a lot more economically feasible for most people to travel with Airbnb than staying in fancy 5-star hotels. The demand is likely to go, for sure it's going to go back up to where it was. It's likely to surge before then and be even higher than normal. And if you think about it, the supply is likely to be quite a bit lower on Airbnb, because a lot of people are going to be finding that they're just going to, they don't want to deal with the chaos going on right now. They are going to find a 6-month tenant, a 12-month tenant. And so if you're able to have your property open 2, 3, 4 months from now, maybe 6 months from now, whenever it is that this whole thing subsides, then there's likely to be an increase in demand and a decrease in supply. And so what I recommend doing is not necessarily turning away longer term bookings, because for yourself specifically if that's a requirement, not just for your own peace of mind, but also for your cash flows, everything else. So it's not to say to turn those away, but if you don't get any longer term tenants that are going to book in with you for 6 or 12 months, then those dates that are 3 months or more out into the future, I wouldn't recommend dropping them down drastically right away. You can always lower them as the dates approach, but for right now, it's still uncertain if there's going to be a whole bunch of tourism then or not. So don't treat your prices 3 months into the future the same way that you're treating your prices, right now 3 days into the future. So that's what's to come. What I think is going to happen is that we're going to see a huge surge. I would predict that that's likely to happen. Now, again, like I said, take that with a grain of salt, because that's my guess more than anything. But what we know to happen based on the past is that things are going to go back up to normal, and it's very likely that as demand goes back to normal, supply is going to be lower because more people are going to be transitioning away from Airbnb. So that's my recommendation to anyone that's hosting right now, is to just stay calm, focus on filling up these next couple weeks and these next couple months, and drop your prices for those and rework your listing to focus on the new value proposition that your listing presents, the new demographic that's attracting. And to prepare for spring, you can make sure that your prices aren't dropped 3 months or more in advance. The other thing that you can do to prepare for spring right now is focus on your business of hosting. Don't focus in it. It's not going to be as necessary, right? There's not a whole lot that's likely to be going on in your business over the next couple of days, the next couple of weeks even, because the overall, your business is likely going to slow down. You're going to have fewer bookings. I'm sure you probably have fewer bookings right now, like the rest of us. And so it's if you look at it from the right lens, you can see it as a problem, as a threat, or you can flip it around, look at it as an opportunity for you to now take this additional time and invest it into working on your hosting business, doing things like brainstorming how you can deliver better value to your guests, improving your property. And that might not mean going out and buying it. Again, like I said, I recommend conserving cash. So don't go and buy a whole bunch of new furniture unless you have enough cash to really comfortably do that. But go and spend some time just doing a deep cleaning on it. You know, going and sprucing it up, putting a little bit of sweat equity into the place. Things like that, and also just things that you can do operationally. You know, work with your cleaners to put together better systems. Maybe get a photographer to go in there and revamp some of your photography. Work on your listing. Study more, just understand more about Airbnb and really learn so that once the time comes, you've got the right knowledge to be able to execute. So all these things can really help you to get through all this and to come out the other side more well prepared than ever. It's a real opportunity if you want to take advantage of it. So I recommend just taking things lightly, taking it day by day. Stick with us on this channel here if you want to learn more about all things Airbnb and get more updates as things progress. I am going to be posting all kinds more Airbnb related content on this channel here. So if you're interested in that, then click the subscribe button. If you're interested in some resources down below, there's a free training down below that will walk you through some of the best practices and best tips that I have for hosts. So check out that. And then also if you're a BNB manager and you're managing other people's properties or you're interested in doing that, I left another link in the description to check out that. Like I said, I am going to be posting a video as well about Airbnb and how it works in a recession, and I'm going to link that in the description once that video goes live as well. So again, I hope you've gotten a lot out of this. I hope this has been helpful. Know that we're all going through it together. If you have any questions for me, feel free to leave them in the comment section below, and I'll do my best to respond to everyone. Until next time, happy hosting, keep on pushing. Let's go through this together and come out the other side stronger. I'll see you in the next video.